Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerry Sansing with another edition of South Texas News and Reviews. It is June the 23rd when I started this, and I'm going to finish it up on June the 24th. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed on. My producer is myself. If you want to know the air times, it's 9 o'clock on Tuesday p.m., Wednesday 9 o'clock p.m. You can reach me by email at gsansing@gmail.com. Also available on YouTube. Go in and just put in Gerald Sansing, and this show plus the what's going on in Corpus Christi will come up. So I've got a few bones to pick with local politicians and administrators and so forth and so on, particularly with the city and at Del Mar College. So I'm going to go ahead and take my seat here in just a minute, get the lights rolling and the cameras rolling and so forth and so on. I'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the camera's rolling and the lights are on. I'm going to take my seat and we'll have a few discussions about the happenings around Corpus Christi, Texas, and maybe the county and the state and local entities like Del Mar College. Now, I've been asked about this t-shirt, which I'm going to explain in just a second. After I say that these flowers up here, these beautiful orchids, is dedicated to my mother, Miss Connie, my deceased wife, Miss Lynn, and to my good friend April 23. And the flowers almost do justice for them, maybe not quite. Now I'm going to go ahead and pick up a sign. I've got yard signs that are going to go up all over the place during voting season. This is one of them, okay? And what I'm doing is I'm asking people to vote for the anybody except the current Board of Regents members. And I think it's District 1, District 3, and one at-large spot, okay? We can't afford these people anymore, folks. They have lied to you. They've cheated on you. They perpetuate lies and so forth and so on about how great it's going to be with the Southside Del Mar College campus at Rod Field and Yorktown, and it's going to cost you a whole bunch of money. And then I have on my previous show here what's going on in Corpus Christi. I am the president of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association. I had no Del Mar bond signs up for an eternity. You find folks by a slim margin decided that you wanted to go ahead and buy it into this garbage that the Board of Regents preached along with the administration, which is terribly bloated, okay, that we're bursting at the seams with students. Now I just want to tell you that there is no such thing over there. And then I've, on the other show that preceded this one today, what's going on in Corpus Christi, I did film some of those big buildings going up on East Campus, and since we can't afford to take care and maintain what we've got, then we're going to put in a lot more square footage over there under the false impression that we're bursting at the seams with students. We have not had an increase in enrollment at Del Mar College, that's the East-West campus and now the Northwest Center, since 1992. I have demonstrated that along with a very accomplished CPA who knows numbers. He's also a certified fraud examiner, and he is a board member at Del Mar College, been a long friend of mine. His wife was the one that was unceremoniously relieved of her duty over there because we had 3 snotty-nosed students that went over there and complained that she was too tough as a PhD nursing instructor. Now, how can you be too tough on nursing students, folks? You just demand that they do what they are supposed to do, shut up, pay attention, and not play like they know everything, more than the professors do. Now, I've gone through that in the last 3 or 4 years. I've noticed that my students think they know a hell of a lot more about the subjects I teach than I do, and they know how to teach those. And all they want to do is sit around and whine. Now this is a minority of them, folks. Believe me, okay. And but I still get that garbage. They won't listen. They won't, you know, they know more than I do about microbiology, biochemistry, chemistry, anatomy, physiology, and so forth and so on. And I'm a basic idiot. And that's just because I demand that they learn a little bit of that so they don't go out and dump my lanta down somebody's veins and kill them with the nursing program saying, oh, that person was going to die anyway. Then, you know, that happened with a nursing student several years ago. So I think that the majority of you taxpayers out there are paying Del Mar College and paying me to provide you with the best medical care that you can come up with in the universe. I demand quality out of my students, ladies and gentlemen. I grew up under that system. So I'm not going to change my ways. And I have had my baptism by fire with the last 2 years of high school in a British-run school, okay, private British school. Got my butt kicked. It straightened me out, thank the dear Lord. And then I went through the undergraduate program with double majors, master's program, PhD, in short order, 4 years. 8 years, okay? My graduate program from bachelor's to PhD was supposed to be 7 to 8 year tour. I finished in 2 weeks shy of 4 years, and I then obtained, and I'm not an award-winning microbiologist or biochemist, but I was awarded one of 3 National Academy of Sciences postdocs for that year that I got out. What can I say? That was a hell of a fellowship, folks, and that was a real baptism by fire. Spent a lot of time in industrial research, pharmaceutical research, developing antimicrobial drugs and microbial toxins for research, doing a lot of toxicology and so forth and so on. But, you know, I don't stand up to somebody that's got a high school diploma that thinks that they can go in and, you know, hoodwink me and make me feel bad, make me belittle me by going to the administration and making wild-ass complaints. Okay? All right, with that being said, I'm on a tear. Now, I have a banner here that I'm going to put up, and, you know, what we need to do with this is taxpayers can't afford the 3 Board of Regents members that are up for re-election this time. Like I say, it's District 1, District 3, and one of the several at-large positions. We can't afford them anymore, folks. They're killing you, tax-wise. Now, what they do over there, along with the city council members and all these high rollers around town, is they're going to lie to you. So I use this banner as an example. This is old Pinocchio with his nose growing because he's lying his butt off, and Jiminy Cricket's standing there trying to talk some sense into his face. And that's what I'd like to see, as a bunch of you up here on the Pinocchio noses that grow around here very, very prolifically, to let's shut some of this garbage down. Okay? You're being lied to. Okay, now, one thing that has got me upset, my bride, Lynn Sansing, was a master's degree developmental reading professor. She was also certified, which was very rare around these parts of the world, with the Kellogg Institute, and had her certificates and so forth in developmental education. And the problem that I have is some of the crap that comes out of Del Mar College, particularly their newspaper lately. Okay? Now, my wife Lynn was a journalism major undergraduate. She went to Southwest Texas State University, which is now Texas State, which has a very good reputation for journalism. Her minor was in speech. She could talk and use correct English and so forth and so on without any particular accent or whatever. And she was a jewel, folks, absolute jewel. I spent almost 40 years with that woman, and they were the best of my life. Okay? Now, she passed away almost 5 years ago. Okay, well, it's going on 6, I guess. And she was very well liked over there. Now, as a journalism major, she probably would not have appreciated at all the latest edition, or it wasn't the latest, I think it was the final edition of the Del Mar College Foghorn newspaper. All right, I think I've got a copy of it. Well, maybe I didn't put it right here. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Now, it says here on the front, this is the school newspaper, supposedly. Okay. And this is the April 30th, 2018 edition, the last one of the spring semester of 2018. Okay, and we're into the summer now, and they do not publish this during the summer. But in this was a pornographic article. Okay, it was written by a 19-year-old person who was the editor-in-chief of the Foghorn. Now, on the front of this, it does say Del Mar College Foghorn News. Okay. Now, after this happened, there was a very large uproar, okay? And it was said that by some of the people at Del Mar College that Del Mar College had nothing to do with the Foghorn newspaper. Now, we provide them with offices up there in the Harvin Center. We furnish them the equipment and so forth in order to produce this rag, okay? And then in their own verbiage over here, it says the Foghorn News is a forum for students' news, events, and opinions produced by Del Mar College students for students. Okay? Now, it just so happens that Channel 6, KRIS, got a hold of this, and this has been not too long ago. The proverbial stuff hit the fan over there, folks, when people started to read this pornographic trash that this 19-year-old Mark Young, I think was his name, editor-in-chief, put out. And it was I think 3 articles before that were very distasteful. Okay, and talking about taste, he said if you're going to have sex, you need a lubricant, and if you go into some of the sex apparels and sex dens around here, the companies, and they'll even let you taste test the lubricant. Okay, now folks, we don't need that. Now, my wife Lynn, as a superior journalist, she's written a lot of articles in college and then after that and so forth and so on, a very prolific writer and reader. Then I'm sure she's rolling over in her grave knowing that this kind of crap came out of a student newspaper. Okay. But then the opinion column about sex Mrs. Mark draws criticism. This was the printout from the KRIS news story. Okay? It says, Corpus Christi, a so-called opinion column is drawing attention over at Del Mar College. Okay? Now, I can't say that the students of journalism at Del Mar College and this rag, the Foghorn, will is completely devoid, and that the students can write anything they want without the permission of Del Mar College or any blessings whatsoever. That it's complete bovine excrement, if you know what I'm talking about. The Foghorn newspaper, which is created by Del Mar College students, released their latest publication Monday morning with an article mentioning sex advice for students who are taking their finals. The headline on the article reads, "Finals aren't the only thing going down." Okay? Robert Mullenberg, the associate professor of journalism over at Del Mar College, says this article was a student attempt at parody or humor. Folks, there is no humor in crap like that. Okay? You've got to be totally and completely demented to believe that there's any parody or humor in such trash. Okay? I think he's produced at least 4 of them over the entire semester. But what made this one different is that he included illustrations to go with them. Very pornographic sex act diagrams. Okay? Illustrations. But given the feedback it's gotten in just at least 24 hours, Mullenberg admits the student, Mark Young, who is also the Foghorn's editor-in-chief, may have missed the mark. Okay? I advised Mark, I saw it, I read it, I saw all before it went out, and we talked about the potential repercussions, Muhlenberg continued. This is not reflective of the person in general, perhaps at worst a misstep. No, I think, this is the fourth one. I think the young man is demented. He's a pervert. That's my personal opinion, so sue me. The Foghorn is a long-time publication funded by a portion of student tuition, with about $29,000 dedicated to maintaining it every year. Okay? So it is a Del Mar College publication. It's supported by the students. And most of the students that I had in my class that saw this almost threw up. Okay? They didn't appreciate it at all. So maybe next time, Mr. Muhlenberg, you'll pay attention. Dr. Mark Escamilla, the Del Mar College president, says the material was published without the knowledge of the college administration. Okay? So they were told by this 19-year-old pervert that what was happening was that this was not associated with Del Mar College. It's a student effort. But it's supported by the students that threw up in my class when they saw it. They didn't want their children reading that crap. Okay? In a statement released by KRIS 6 News, Dr. Escamilla states, quote, while supporting the rights of free press, Del Mar College also holds itself to an ethical standard that was not met by these students. Okay? All right? I agree with you. I don't think you needed your children, Dr. Escamilla, to read that either. I have met your two young boys who are not very young anymore, and I know that, this probably in your mind was disgusting too. I hope you were upset enough about it, like the rest of us, that you wanted to throw up too, Dr. Escamilla. Okay? All right, now, there are a lot of things that, while supporting the rights of free press, Del Mar College holds itself to an ethical standard that was not met by these students. How about Dr. Olson's lawsuit? You locked the door on one of the most prolific, well-mannered, prestigious professors, a history professor who also had fought for everybody's right to freedom of speech. And through the Vietnam War, Dr. Olson was a bird colonel, Army. He was a Special Forces and Airborne Ranger. He fought in Vietnam. Okay? I would think that since he's out fighting for your freedom of speech, he would have something to say about you locking him out, stealing his personal property, and now you've got two completely unethical attorneys over there, one with the insurance company and one that is the in-house counsel, I guess they call it, general counsel now for Del Mar College, and they're about as slimy as you can get. They don't meet deadlines. They say they're too busy over there getting these board meetings together so they can go out there and preach that we need to spend more billions of dollars, millions and billions, on space we don't need. I'll discuss that in a little bit. Okay? And then they condone lying about trademark products developed by certain privileged and faculty members that, and all they are is opportunists. Okay? That's the best I can say. So, it's up to you, pal, Dr. Escamilla. So I don't see much of an ethical standard at Del Mar College invoked by the administration of Del Mar College and or the Board of Regents members. Most of them are in it. 3 of which you need to vote out this go-around, folks. District 1, District 3, and 1 at-large position. And I'm just going to say that. All right, I'll continue on with this press release. Meanwhile, Muhlenberg says he entirely stands behind the students in their right to publish this newspaper and will continue to approach every article the same way. Okay? All I can say is my dear sweet wife, Lynn Sansing, is rolling over in her grave. She was a fantastic journalist, and she would never have passed this through, especially if she knew her kids were going to be over there in classes and reading that tripe and that garbage, that pornographic tripe. When it comes to anything in the future, we'll approach it exactly the same way we approach this. We'll look at it, we'll discuss it on its merits, we'll talk about it, what the benefits are versus the running something like this, but ultimately it still comes down to a student's voice. Okay? Well, as a taxpayer, I don't want to support the Foghorn News at all anymore. Move out, pay your own bills, and so forth and so on, but do not represent yourself as being Del Mar College, and especially I would like to have none of these people that publish anything in the Foghorn from now on to be a student that I'm paying part of the tuition and fees for. Okay? I'm that adamant about it. And then it says, for a look at the illustrations, it may offend you, but you can click onto this, and they showed those graphic, pornographic sexual positions that were put in there. Okay? Now, ethically also, we have a regent, Guy Watts. As I said, my family back through the Revolutionary War on both sides of my family have fought for freedom of speech. Pornography is not freedom of speech as far as I'm concerned. It's disgusting. Okay? Kids don't need to do it. And on the other show, I showed a little newspaper stand that sits between Garcia Science Building and the Coles Building over there. And it's got about, probably maybe 8 or 10, 12 editions of this newspaper still in it, right out in the middle where neighborhood kids can skateboard by and go over there and pick up that trash and take it home. I've talked to many a parent over there of students that go to Del Mar College, as well as my students, and they are all horrified. I have not had one person out of hundreds tell me that they thought that that was appropriate. Okay? So maybe Mr. Mullenberg knows a hell of a lot more than I do about what's going on. Okay? If he lets something like that go, I've got serious doubts about him. All right, then it says that we're all over Del Mar College region, Guy Watts. He was District 4. Okay, Guy's been on there a year longer than I got to Del Mar College. He was a regent a year longer than I've been there. I came in August of 1989. It's been that long ago. So what they've done is they stirred it up over there, they meaning the Board of Regents members, and what they have done is they have accepted the fact that certain people in the Caller Times have called him a racist and so forth and so on. Okay? So what Dr. Watts did after the fifth probe on his opinions that we need to increase and enhance the academic standards at Del Mar College, then they called him a bigot. They called him a racist and so forth and so on, because he said that we need to have a campus that has something more than just remedial classes on it. And the reason we've got so many developmental and remedial courses is we're spending a fortune with CCISD, and between Scott Eliff and the new one, Hernandez, I think his name is, the quality of education at CCISD has hit rock bottom. So rather than get an education that they're supposed to have when they graduate from high school, they have to go to Del Mar College and have you fine folks over there, taxpayers, pay for those courses to get them back up to where they should have been when they graduated from high school. And again, if a student complains in CCISD, everybody over there in the administration are cowards, and all a parent has to do is say, my kid needs to be passed through this class, can't read, write, add, multiply, subtract, or divide, but they need their, because I paid taxes and they sat there breathing. They didn't learn a damn thing. They're too busy out there, playing tiddlywinks and whatever. But we need to spend some more money to go ahead and process them through, or we'll sue you. Spineless is what I'm saying. That seems to be run rampant through the Del Mar College administration is horribly bloated, and the Del Mar College Board of Regents, most of them, not all, but you know, we've turned into a country of a bunch of damn wimps, folks, okay, as far as I'm concerned. If they can't cut it, let them go out and dig ditches for a while. That'll change your mind, okay? And then we've got this person, Nick Jimenez. I won't tell you what I really think about him. You'll probably get the thing. But it says Del Mar Regent Guy Watts has exited enough. This is actually an opinion, okay? So the board down there, the scholars at the Caller Times, which are a bunch of wimps also, then you know, they published this tripe. Nick Jimenez, okay, he's been the opinion editor or whatever it was for years. Don't follow Guy Watts' example. Del Mar board position is a lovely opportunity. This is when he stepped down with 4, and they went over and they had meetings, and they solicited the people to go ahead and you know, apply for this stuff. Then what we've got is he's got another one. This is Nick Jimenez on June the 17th. Democracy depends on informed electorate. And then again he goes into Dan McQueen, who was a disaster as far as the short time he spent, 37 days as mayor. He lied, cheated, and you know, and so forth. But then they've got former Del Mar Regent Guy Watts is sworn in December 2004. So he makes some real nasty remarks about Mr. Watts. Okay? And then what they did is they said that the Guy Watts' seat was officially open when he resigned from District 4. And then it says here, A&M system veteran will replace Watts on DMC board. Her name is Dr. Mary Sherwood. She's been in the administration of several colleges over there. And what we do not need is somebody over there that's going to support that tripe that most of, not all of the other Board of Regents do. They're unprepared when they go to meetings. They don't know which end of the rope to tug next. They don't care. They're a bunch of morons, and they lie to you a lot. And then on the Del Mar Regents, we had a article about Board of Regents appointing Mary Sherwood, PhD, to fill District 4 seat. And they say how great that is because she came out of administration on several different places. Okay? That's going to help you taxpayers out there a whole lot. And then I'll just leave it up to me. You can go back and read this. This was on Sunday, May the 6th. It's been a while ago. Nick Jimenez, he says, anti-Hispanic actions say a lot. And what he's doing is he's calling everybody that, you know, is not of Hispanic background a bunch of racists and so forth around this town. And that's what I get out of that thing, Mr. Jimenez. So you can either change your view or whatever. Okay? And then, like I say, Del Mar College Board of Regents upped its game, and this is praising the fact that Dr. Mary Sherwood is now District 4. All I can do is hope. Okay? And then there was another one, I think, by Whitehurst in here that said something about a brown wave. You know, that us people who are not of Hispanic background, who came from the 1700s and so forth, fighting for the right for them to say things around here. And my ancestors were shooting it out both in North Carolina against redcoats, and on my mother's side I traced them back to slugging it out, shooting it out with the British at Concord and Lexington. And everybody's been in the service since then, including my father. And I couldn't go because I've got a bad foot. Surgeons at in the service at up in Washington, D.C. would not straighten that foot out. They said we'll cripple him for life. Otherwise, I would have been through Annapolis and probably have been flown as a fighter pilot with the U.S. Marine Corps. Okay, following my dad's footsteps. Although he hated the fact that I wanted to be a Marine pilot and not an Air Force fighter pilot necessarily. Okay, now I'll switch to this illustrious city and a bunch of bozos we've got down there, city council members that are running that place. Okay, you see, I'm not very appreciative of having my tax money flittered away, even at Del Mar College. We can't maintain the square footage we've got. We're putting in thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of square footage in buildings now, and in lecture rooms and facilities we do not need. It's a blatant lie when they say that we're bursting at the seams over there with students. We haven't had an increase since 1992. I can prove that statistically by their numbers. And in the last 3 years, we're counting dual credit students as full-time enrollees, or not full-time, but enrolled students. And they're not. They don't pay full tuition like the part-timers and the full-timers do as a regular student at Del Mar College. So, you know, it's Pinocchio all over again. Now, here's the city. Workers suing the city for unpaid on-call wages. The city treats their many and most of their employees down there that are not sitting in those air-conditioning offices, the ones that are out there pounding ton after ton after ton of blacktop into these holes as Ocean Drive and many of the others are falling apart. They have misspent the money. They're not prudent individuals. They're elected. They think they're big shots down there, and that you know, they can do no wrong. But what we're doing is just using some of these positions as a step up politically, and they're raping and pillaging a bunch of money. Okay, I hate to think of the kickbacks that probably exist with city council and with certain of the Del Mar College administrators and certain of the Del Mar College Board of Regents members. It's horrifying to me, okay? But I'm going to uncover it one of these days. So, you know, if you hear that they've hired a hitman to get rid of me, make damn sure he's a good shot. I don't want to lay around and suffer for a couple of days before I expire. So have at it there, elected officials. I'm telling you the truth. Now, what happened here was, if a city, let's say, employee that was on shift work, okay, let's say they were collecting trash, or they were working for the water department, and they're put on about an 8-hour to 10-hour, maybe 24-hour state where they're available if they get called, then it's called on-call pay. Okay, and it's in the books. It's legal for a city worker on wages like that to collect money if they're sitting at home waiting for somebody to call them in if there's an emergency. Okay, but the city hadn't paid them, and now there's a big lawsuit. I think Herman and Herman, Greg Herman, and so forth are the ones that are going to have filed this, and I hope that these people, even though I hate to see my tax money go for things like that, screw-ups by this city management and some of the city council people down there, I hope they clean your plow down there, city. And I'm about real close to selling my house here, quit paying these exorbitant taxes, and I'm going to move just outside the city limits or the taxing districts here and save some money. And then I'm just going to be, you know, I can film these shows out there too. But anyway, workers suing the city for unpaid on-call wages. That's a hell of a mess when you get people doing that. Now, as the president of the Taxpayers Association, several months ago, some of the people that drove the garbage trucks and the recycling trucks and so forth came to us and said that they were being bullied and so forth and so on down there. And since some of them said that they were tired of working overtime and not really getting compensated for it, then they were being chastised and bullied by the people down there that run those departments. And they mentioned the name of several of them. I've got that on record. And I think I'm just going to go down and have a few talks with some of these city on-call individuals, particularly the people with the water department and or with you know, the garbage pickup and the recycling people and anybody else, the ones that have to go out in the hot sun and pound asphalt into roads that should have been guaranteed to be fixed and have guarantees on them. And those are the buddies of some of the business people around and their cronies down there on the city council, and they're raping and pillaging. And then, you know, if for instance, and it has, Ocean Drive's fallen apart, then there were no guarantees on that. There's no recourse to go back. Okay. And then it says businesses owe Corpus Christi millions in overdue utility bills. So the high rollers here, there's the Cane Beef is one of them, and so forth and so on, owns tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to the city for utility bills and so forth and so on. Well, they've got a bunch of friends that are elected officials down there that take money from these corporations and companies around and to run for political office. And I don't know if they're on the take or not. I can't prove that. I can only speculate. And you know, sue me. I don't give a damn. All right. But anyway, so we've got millions overdue with that. And then let's see, policy. Policy to be created for late utility accounts. Okay? Well, shut the business down. That'll do it. Okay? I mean, you give these big companies and all around here extensive tax abatements and everything else under the sun, and then they pollute the hell out of us around here, and then they leave you in a pickle, and they come back at Del Mar College and the CCISD and other things and want money back. Okay? They say you've overappraised us. So why give them a free ride in the first place? All they're doing is coming in and polluting the hell out of us. Okay? Voestalpine, Chenier, you know, and all these others around here. We had the M&G Plastics, and you know, thank goodness I was able to be with a group of individuals, the Clean Economy Coalition, that stopped Las Brisas Energy Center. I do know that Mark Scott's wife, who's on Del Mar College board now, was the person who owned a public relations company that stood up for them. And then to show his lack of integrity, Mr. Mark Scott voted for giving the Las Brisas Energy Center, which is Chase Energy out of Houston, millions of dollars in tax abatements so that can be built down here. And then some people that own a big pipe and steel company, one of which was on the CCISD board, Del Mar board, and then as a city council woman, okay, how many billions of dollars would they have made with a building that size selling rebar, pipes, and steel and so forth for that one? And that person just happens to be best friends with the Scotts. Cane Beef owes $400,000 in back taxes, plus the utilities. You have to make up the difference there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, in Corpus Christi's addiction to corporate giveaways. This is Ton Krimple. He's a retired college administrator. He serves on the Corpus Christi Library Board. Folks, it's time we face facts that admitted that our mayor and city council are seriously addicted to what is commonly referred to as giveaways, more formally known as corporate welfare-itis. The evidence of this addiction and its deleterious effects on the community is right before us, and he goes on and talks about that. Okay, how much kickback do these people get? Okay, I can't believe they're that blatantly stupid that they can't figure out they're being duped. They know they are, but what are the economic benefits to elected officials if they give these multi-billion-dollar tax abatements away? New zones could give economic boost to the city. Federal programs offer this, that, and the other. Economic development is the cornerstone of any city or county's efforts to build its tax base. Well, with the tax abasements, folks, they don't have to pay taxes. And $400,000 from Kane, one business. I'd hate to see what the others do. And then Chenier OK's expansion of Gregory Plant. Okay, now they're probably one of the least offensive around here, but they've they liquefy natural gas and ship it out and make some money. But I think they still had massive tax abatements in the past. And it says, how does revenue from sales taxes affect city's budget? Well, it affects it a great deal. Okay, so what we're going to do now is figure out where we go next with this. Okay, revenue brought in with the 2-cent local sales tax is divided into 6 different funds. Tax, 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 tax. Okay, and then here's one by Johnny Cotton. Don't lose the vision of Shoreline. Shoreline, as well as Ocean Drive, Mr. Cotton, has fallen apart. They went down and yanked down the Coliseum down there, the Memorial Coliseum, which is a memorial to an awful lot of World War II deceased veterans. It was an architectural wonder. It won prizes for its architect. I think Mr. Colley's the one that did that. And then it was a freestanding roof, and it was the centerpiece of all the Coliseum go here. They had rock and roll shows, graduations. They started out with the ice race down there and so forth and so on. It was the centerpiece. Okay, it was about an acre under roof. It was a domed roof. I mean, not domed, but arched roof, freestanding. So there were 5 of us when they decided they wanted to tear that down and build dog parks down there and Ferris wheel rides and all that crap, to make money for the city fathers. 5 of us held that up for about a month, and we were sued by the city for tens of thousands of dollars, which they never figured out and never completed, ladies and gentlemen, because they knew I was coming back in their face. But, sure, that downtown is a mess. And then now there's raging controversies whether we ought to close those or open up those roads that were closed right down there at the bayfront. It's an abortion down there, folks, and it's costing you a lot of money. And I got into trouble because I said no destination bayfront when the now head of the Del Mar College Board of Regents, Mr. Trey McCampbell, wanted to skin you taxpayers for $44 million to go down there and tear that freestanding building down and build a park down there. Okay, to ravel, what's that one, Kemah up there around Houston. And for what? To make his buddies a whole bunch of money with tourists down there. So they tore that building down. And then what they wanted to do, Mr. McCampbell said he needed $44 million to build shade down there. He allowed the tearing down and encouraged the tearing down of $44 million. After he was going for $44 million to tear down an acre's worth of shade down there that was already plumbed for bathrooms, and they could have had beautiful venues down there and so forth. So 5 of us opposed that. We held up the demolition of that, and we were called criminals and so forth and so on, and sued by the city of Corpus Christi. Okay? That was my good friend Carlos Valdez, who I have absolutely no respect for. I would not shed a tear if he left this community. I don't want him to necessarily die of a massive heart attack, although I think that would be justice, but I don't like the demise or death of anybody, no matter how despicable I think they are, and know how despicable they are. Okay? So there you go, Carlos. How are you doing there, buddy? Who are you screwing this week? Okay? What group are you trying to mess up? Corpus Christi falling short on housing costs. This came out June the 14th. Supply behind demand, properties are too expensive. That's true. Okay? And then the port is keeping an eye on the pending M&G plant sales. Okay? That was one of the biggest moronic things they ever did, was to allow M&G Plastics to come in here on the bayfront and then screw it all up. And then they wouldn't pay their workers and subcontractors and so forth. Okay? So anyway, it was unbelievable. They came to us as Clean Economy Coalition, and I smelled a rat immediately. Port addresses concern voiced by Hillcrest residents. Okay? I spent an awful lot of money. I'm not the most benevolent guy in the world. I'm not pounding my chest saying whatever. But I did spend an awful lot of my personal money, and with a person who I thought was going to be down there and take care of, let's address the concerns of the Hillcrest residents. Let's buy some homes up. Let's buy, what my goal was is to find some investors that would buy fourplexes over around Del Mar College East, and then maybe some properties around West, and get some of those poor single women over there, single mothers, and maybe some families that were broke living in government housing over there, which is now torn down. But I went through several of the religious groups over there and the high rollers in the Hillcrest, Washington Coles area, spent a bunch of money, and I guess I was just such an outsider. And that person that I had set up for that, very talented individual, and paid salary to that one. And all of a sudden I was persona non grata over there, and I didn't get anything done. Okay? And they mentioned some of these people in there that made my life miserable with that. Okay? So I've still got a bad taste in my mouth, although I really do. I sit down and I literally pray for Hillcrest and Washington Coles residents, because they've been screwed around by some of the high rollers over there that built those neighborhoods up. And those people don't care. Okay? So it's a crime, folks. And then, here's the port over there polluting the hell out of them. They've got high cancer rates and everything else. And then the port was going to bail them out with $20 million, I think, to buy houses and so forth. And that goes hand in hand with the Corpus Christi falling short on housing. The costs are too expensive. Okay? So this city is fraught with people that I find very despicable. Okay? So for all you people over there that tried to shut me down and did, I walked away from Hillcrest, Washington Coles, and the person I had that was going to run the nonprofit organization over there. I hope you're happy. Okay? And, all I wanted to do was buy a couple of fourplexes, move some of those people out of there, get them tuition money through the Del Mar College Foundation and some private donations, and let them go over there and be able to walk to Del Mar College East, take their children over to the Early Childhood Center there, which is a wonderful attribute and function at Del Mar College, and then let them get an education so they could draw themselves up, by their bootstraps and succeed. But that wasn't in the cards, I guess I'm of the wrong ilk to do that. And then it says Port OK's $217 million for ship channel capital needs. We're going to go ahead and bring bigger ships in over there. And then the Harbor Island plans, there's a great amount of opposition to that, to go over there and have these deep channels so that we can export millions and billions of barrels of oil out of here to other countries. I think we need to stockpile it ourselves, folks. Okay? And, but anything to make a dollar, your politicians and elected officials and high rollers around here, bankers and architects and so forth and so on, Del Mar College and you taxpayers are a godsend to them. And then it said the city is mulling bond projects. Leaders working on a list of $96 million for a bond election. Okay? $200,000 for Beach Avenue bike mobility, $1.25 million for North Beach area primary access, $300,000 for North Beach pedestrian bike Gulf Spray Avenue access, $250,000 for North Beach coastal projection. So it sounds like, they really got this thing in. They're talking about the improvements to the JFK Causeway, Park Road 22, and so forth and so on. So, city fathers, you're such brilliant people, and that's why we're dead broke right now, and we're actually running in the red. Then, with all these brilliant ideas you've got, so you can line your pockets with money, then, what can I say? And it's the same thing with Del Mar College. The reason that we've got that Southside campus is because we had Mr. Trey McCampbell pushing that. It was called Del Mar Works. I've got his contribution list to his second, I guess it was, bid for Del Mar College Regent, his political campaign. And we've got all of the top architects around here, engineers, contractors, and so forth, donating a bunch of money. And then I know one architectural fee that donated $5,000 to the Del Mar College Works Fund so that they could go ahead and build that Southside campus and fulfill the $157 million project that's going on the East and West campuses right now. And I saw checks almost just under $500,000 each. I mean $500 million each to them. Okay, $500,000. Almost $500,000 a piece. So you invest $5,000 and you get several $1,000,000 back. That ain't too bad a deal there, architects, engineers, and so forth. And then we're too busy as attorneys to take care of the nasty lawsuit that you lost essentially from Dr. Bruce Olson when you ejected him from his office, locked him out, stole his private property, and so forth. Then you're too busy writing all this garbage for the Tuesday, June the 12th, 2018 Board of Regents meetings. They had one in the morning from 8:30 on, and then they had the one from 1 o'clock on, and then I guess they're still doing that, but they're too busy with this, and all this is a whole bunch of tripe to show you how they're going to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on Southside campus and other boondoggles. Okay? Then there was also one June the 5th. So it's been stated by the Del Mar College General Counsel and the insurance company attorney that lost the case against against Del Mar by Dr. Olson. And now they're pleading that they don't have time to meet the deadline for the pending lawsuits, of which one of them is going to be a real doozy up there in Austin on a whistleblower. And it already is stated here in the paper somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Dr. Olson fought this one through. This came out December 4th. This was during that trial here in the second county court at Law 2. That judge down there is in cahoots with Mr. Augustin Rivera and Mr. McKinney, the insurance company's attorney. But it says Del Mar faces possible payment. Jury rules school must pay former professor $664,000. Okay, plus attorney's fees. That's what the jury said, and then they spent $300,000. Del Mar did appealing the effort during the course of that County Court at 2 lawsuit, and they lost it, and now they were going to go ahead and appeal it again. I've heard that a mediation that took place based on that lawsuit, the outcome was mediated, and it's my understanding that the Board of Regents has not had that in front of them to take a vote on whether they would accept that mediation offer or not. Good luck, folks. It's not it's not their money. Mr. Rivera doesn't give a rip that he can spend $300,000 appealing something just to make him not look so bad. Okay? Who's the one that authorized it? I was in the day that Dr. Olson found out he was locked out. It was just in January of 1 year. I went over he called me. I was in my lab working. It was like the 4th or 5th of the month in January. And he said, I've been locked out of my office. My lock doesn't work. We went over to security. They said, you got to go over and see the vice president, at the time, Dr. Figueroa. And we went over there, and Dr. Olson had 2 witnesses there. When Dr. Mark Escamilla walked in the door, and he said, I'm so sorry, Dr. Olson, I didn't know about this until 30 minutes ago. And then come to find out, when they were taking the lawsuit, Dr. Escamilla signed the orders. He knew about it. So what does that tell you about how honest and so forth these people are? You know, and then they play like little choir boys there over there when they whine and grind, you know, and they say, oh, well, we do this, we're a wonderful college and so forth, and they bloat that administration into bankruptcy. And then the old county courthouse for sale, almost completed. United effort will make old courthouse back into an asset. And then it says sold the old county courthouse. Now how much is that going to cost us to make sure that these people make a success and make a bunch of money with that old piece of junk down there? Okay. Now, you know, we tried to save the Coliseum under the same thing that the courthouse is under, and that's the State Historical Society, and you can't tear down historical buildings. The Memorial Coliseum was such, and then they said they can't read their own damn contract when it said that, you know, if court ordered, then I can ask to not have the thing torn down, reinvestigated and so forth. And then I was sued for I don't know how many thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars because I and 4 others had held up the demolition of the courthouse for 30 days, a month, and they said we cost the city so much money. And if they read their own contract, Mr. Carlos Valdez, okay, who I have no respect for whatsoever, then you know, he said that he could sue us. Well, it says quite clearly in the contract between the demolition company and the city that if a court order came down and halted that, nobody was going to be held liable for that. That's the public's right to question the tearing down of that building. Okay? So where do we go from there? And then Port of Corpus Christi may construct a plant for water desalination. You know, I'm a dumbass chemist with a PhD, so I don't know what that's all about. I've worked on desal before it became, you know, commercially available and so forth and so on. But, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about according to Del Mar College and some of the esteemed award-winning professors over there and administrators. But this is a bad idea, folks, okay? We're going to take the salt out of the water, straight out of the canal over there, the ship channel, and dump that high brine, excess water waste out in there, the discharge, and pollute the hell out of Corpus Christi Bay and everything out through Port Aransas until you get out into the Gulf of Mexico. So what can I say, folks? Can you see why I'm a little bit discouraged that you're being lied to, cheated on, and screwed by the elected officials around here? Not all of them, but the vast majority. So why don't you join me and come to the Taxpayers Association meeting on July the 7th at 2 o'clock, Small Planet Deli at Staples and Saratoga. Okay, we're in the back room. Come and voice your opinion. And I think we're going to go ahead and invite Dr. Sherman, or what was her name? Anyway, our new Board of Regents member that has been appointed to take over Dr. Watts's District 4. Well, I'm going to go and I'm going to turn off the camera, say a few words, and then I'm going to give you a close-up of these absolutely gorgeous orchids that are dedicated to Miss Lynn, Miss Connie, and Miss April 23. I can't think of anything more befitting to fantastic ladies than the flowers. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, looks like I've got a little over 40 seconds left. Like I say, email me at gsansing. Hope to see a bunch of you July the 7th. at Small Planet Delicatessen, Staples, and Saratoga at our taxpayers meeting. And maybe you can join in, and we'll enlighten you about how you're being most screwed around here by our elected officials, and then the elected officials are tied at the ankle with all of these high rollers around here, architects, engineers, builders, bankers, and so forth. Anyway, have a good one.